All right, welcome to Rapid Fire Manufacturing. Today
Sure.
I'm thrilled to have Jim Carr, the owner of Carr Machine and Tool. He's the host of the podcast True Position. Jim has been a leader in precision machining for years. He's continuously pushing the boundaries of innovation in the industry. His expertise in machining and leadership has been invaluable. I'm super excited to have you on, Jim. Thanks so much for joining.
You're welcome, David. Pleasure to meet you. And I just hope I can help and inspire somebody to do something a little bit better tomorrow.
I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I think we're connected through Daniel Allison.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I've been down to Greenville and I've seen him, and he's got some great new ideas in this space, this media space, and we're working together on some big things. So
That's awesome. We're excited to see. Are you ready to jump into the first question here?
go ahead. Question number one.
Yes. So if you could go back to the start of your career, knowing what you know now, what's one piece of bad advice you would absolutely ignore?
Don't keep doing things the same way you've been doing. You've got to push yourself out of your comfort zone to make your box bigger. I know I've said this for years on the other podcasts that I've been on, but life, I equate and I assimilate, I visualize life in a box, and you're bouncing around in that box. And if you don't let yourself go outside of those boundaries at all, anytime in your career, you're never going to get bigger. Your box is never going to get bigger. So I tell people, make it a little uncomfortable. You don't have to go out way out here. Just go a little bit, and then it'll make your box bigger. And then a month later, make it a little painful, make it a little bit more uncomfortable, and you'll just eventually get your box. But you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone and do something a little different than you were doing yesterday. So
That's great.
the answer to the question is, don't do things you're always used to doing.
And would it be safe to say don't also go completely out where you get so turned off by the whole, I guess, situation where you don't want to continue down that path? So it's sort of incremental changes or uncomfortable situations you want to go through?
Yes, we all know when we're feeling uncomfortable by doing something. Believe it or not, I used to feel very uncomfortable doing public speaking. I was kind of an introvert. I never wanted to do that. I never wanted to be the guy in the room that was talking. And over the last 10 years, podcasting, I've been pushing myself and talking. And now it's very comfortable for me to do public speaking events, to talk on a podcast, to talk to you today.
Oh, that's awesome. It gives a lot of hope too, because for people out there that maybe think, hey, I can't get into it. No, you can start. And over time, you're going to make, substantial changes.
Absolutely.
Now, running Carr Machine and Tool for so long, what's something in your leadership style or business approach that's evolved in a way you never expected it to?
Yeah. Decades I've been in this industry. Multiple decades. I'm second generation. My father founded the company in 1972, and third generation is in our operations role right now, and will likely succeed me in the next 10 plus years. But what surprised me, that was your question. What surprised me the most, or what has been the biggest eye-opening event? I think by reinvesting in the company, changing the perception of what people think manufacturing companies should look or act like. So what I mean is, older generations might have a perception that manufacturing is not a good career choice. I completely disagree with that. I think it can give people opportunities to work in a high-tech, fast and paced environment, and can support a family for a lifetime. I mean, really, really, really good opportunities here. I grew up in a manufacturing company that really didn't have a good culture. And when I took over as president, it was really important for me on a personal level to change how I ran my business. And I really implemented a lot of cultural things in the way I ran the business and how I hired people, how I reviewed people, and quite frankly, how I fired people as well. If they're not aligned with your core values, it probably will never work out. So, people first. Once you have that good core team, just like a sports team, once you have a good
Mm-hmm.
core team and everyone is playing in the sandbox well together and everyone gets along, everyone knows the objectives we're trying to meet, and there's good, honest, authentic communication, it's going to be a win-win. So there's a lot of other things, investing in technology, investing in infrastructure, but first and foremost, you got to invest in your employees.
That's huge. Yeah. And I imagine just by investing in your employees, they're going to take care of the rest, right? Instead of, hey, let's put
For the
everything
most
into,
part, yes,
right.
for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
They still
That's
they
awesome.
still need leadership, but at least they know that the leader of the company is authentic and respects them.
Yeah. And just because I played sports growing up too, when you have the synergy of a good team, it feels amazing. It feels like you can accomplish anything.
Sure, mutual respect.
Yes, absolutely. Now, with True Position, you've shared a lot of valuable lessons on there. What's one thing you've learned recently from one of your guests that's kind of shifted your whole, your outlook of the future of manufacturing?
Well, of late, recently I had my CFOs. I have fractional CFO. It's EBITDA Growth Systems, Dave Kapkovitz and Michael Watkins. I recently had them on the show because there's been a lot of consolidation in our industry. A lot of private equity is buying up small manufacturing companies. It's crazy. And people like myself that own small to mid-sized manufacturing companies we're getting inundated with these people that are um, trying to buy our small businesses. So I had my CFOs on to kind of explain to me why all this is happening. And they gave me a good answer. There's a lot of money out there that investors want to put into rather than conventional methods. So
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing is they're investing in small businesses to make money. So the private equity buys the company, the entity, so it's an investment vehicle for the future. And if they can make a good return on buying a manufacturing company and it's a win-win, why not? I mean, it's better than putting it in a CD at the bank, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
I
really
forget
interesting.
what
I'm gonna.
episode that is, but it was My True Position with EBITDA Growth Systems. I think it was episode number 72. I'm not quite sure, but
I'm gonna check that
pretty,
out because that's always been something that's fascinated me.
yes. There's a lot of consolidation. I've never seen it so much in my entire life. The other thing too is I would like to add that I've lived through many recessions, and I think our industry specifically hasn't lived through a deep, a great recession like 2008. I know it's inevitable. I know it's going to come. People tell me all the time that I have an obsession with recession, but when I lived through it in 2008, it was the worst part of my career. 65% of the people had to be laid off at my company. I would get physically ill every day trying to tell that guy in the shop that has a wife, kids in school, and a mortgage, we don't have any more work. You're going to have to go home. And what I learned from that, David, was the employees are wiser than you think they are. Every single person that I had to lay off in the 2008 recession said, Jim, I understand. We watch the news. We are privy to what's happening in the economy right now. So it made it, not that made it better that I had to lay them off, but at least they knew that it was out of my control. I wasn't mismanaging my business. It was just, there was no work. And
Yes.
when there's no work, I can't employ people. So
Yeah, that I imagine an incredibly difficult time. Now,
terrible.
yeah. So what's going on now too? And actually, the other David Turner posted about this. There's some
Is
companies
there
that
another
they're
David Turner?
There's another David Turner. He owns
What does that
Turner
David
Process
Turner do?
Solutions. Turner Process Solutions.
Okay. Cool.
So he just posted about how some companies will hold off. They're like, hey, we're waiting till after the election. And he's like, by doing that, you're actually you're losing money by doing that. So I'm curious to what your thoughts. Have you heard similar things?
A peer of mine told me about 5 years ago, only buy capital equipment if you need it now. So let's say we just got in a multi-million-dollar contract and we didn't have the infrastructure or the capital equipment, the machinery and equipment to do it. I would be obligated to buy that capital equipment now, regardless if the interest rate is at 10%. I need the equipment now. Don't just buy it because it's a good price or the lending rates are low. Only buy equipment if you need it now. That's one thing that I would recommend as far as investing in your business.
That's incredibly valuable. And actually, someone I just talked to recently said instead of upgrading some of his machines, he just got really good tools and invested more in that and the capabilities of his tools.
Sure.
So I see that we are out of time here, Jim. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you. I appreciate the insight and wisdom you bring to the industry. And anyone watching, please continue to stay tuned for future leaders.